Start your week smiling with your friends, Kathy Zant and Michelle Frechette. It's time to get ready for some weekly motivation with WP Motivate. Happy Thursday, Kathy.
Happy Thursday, Michelle. How are you?
Good. I always kind of have to mentally check what day of the week is it? Because our schedules are so insane that we don't always have the exact same time and day that we record. But we always make it work.
Squeeze it in where we can.
We do. And I love that we give each other the flexibility to say, I don't have the time this week. So we took a week off last week. You had a huge conference that you were part of, and I just had the everyday part of whatever happens in life going on. And
yeah, WPSpeakers. You got that out. From the time that you were like, hey, look what I'm working on, and then getting it out, and then all the notoriety, and over 200 speakers registered on it now?
Yeah, there's 210. It's insanity. And it was during the Adorem conference as well, which I was helping staff the networking lounge. So it was a little crazy week. So when you were like, I don't have time this week, I was like, oh, shoot, because I didn't know how I was going to fit it in either. So I love that we give each other grace that way. So I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yeah, and I think that, I was reading a blog post you put out I don't know if you put out yesterday or when you put it out this week though. And
yesterday.
And you were paying attention to what was happening with WPSpeakers, and we both have so much that we've learned over the last week. It's like I can share some of what I learned, and I would love to hear, because I read your post, and oh my gosh, woman, you are an amazing writer. Like the first paragraph. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I was laying in bed reading on my phone. And I'm like, I'm really grateful for the soundproofing in my condo, because otherwise the people upstairs would have been like, what is she giggling? That's what giggling about. Because I was just like, you hooked me right in. I can't even remember exactly what you said, but something about being what was the line? I texted it to you because I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, what did I say?
It's
the jokes that I crack all the time. And as soon as I ran, okay, so what we're talking about is there's this marketing mastermind group that I'm a part of, and somebody started using it to do headshots, and I'm like, well, my headshots are ancient and I'm getting ancient, so let's update them. So you upload 10 to 15, 20 of pictures of yourself, and it spits out headshots of you. But it's not really you, right? No. So it was really disconcerting.
It's an art. It's an AI artist's interpretation of you.
Yeah.
If somebody paints you, it's you.
Yeah, I guess it was just very disconcerting because it wasn't, my vision of me. It really made me have to I looked at them probably when I first got them, I looked at them all for an hour, just looking at each and every one.
And there's a lot of them, right?
There was 100. And
that's a lot.
Some of them made me look like I was starting a country music career, because it's just in a field, and then others were real estate agent. I looked like a real estate agent.
And what you said. You said some make me look like I'm starting my country music career, and some made me look like I'm getting ready to sell Dave and Cheryl a split level in Naperville. I was on the floor laughing at that one. I'm like, not just a real estate agent, but selling Dave and Cheryl a split level in Naperville. God, that was awesome.
Yeah. Well, they were just so hyper realistic. And then there were some I was posting them on Facebook and stuff. And Michelle Butcher Jones was like, hey, that one makes you look like you're going to a Paisley yacht party. So it was all neon and stuff. So everybody was cracking jokes about them because they were just so funny. They were just antithetical to how I see myself. But because of that, it challenged what I see myself as. And so I started thinking about how does AI going to change the way we think about lots of different things? So if you are a business and you ask AI to help you with your brand, how does it change the way, does it come back and say, hey, your key market is this market over here, where you're just but I'm targeting, wait a minute, that market might be kind of interesting. I wonder why. And then you dig a little. So it has an opportunity to see things in such a different way, and in some ways absurdly, but there's so much creativity that comes out of absurdity, right? You hear these stories of big businesses bringing in improv people to teach them creativity. And so like there's this
Yeah.
exercise called yes and it just leads you into like there's a pink elephant in the room. Yes, and it's wearing green boots. And it's got a friend that is a giraffe that's wearing green boots too. Yes, and you just have to keep yes anding
Mm-hmm.
until like all of this absurdity happens. Well, if you apply that to a problem in business or on a team, like how can that, add to the way we see our reality in a creative
Mm-hmm.
way? Because everybody's, like, oh, plagiarism and the internet's going to be full of all of these copycat articles that people are just spitting out from Chat GPT and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
so everybody's kind of got this like negative view on AI, but I think AI can, if used in the right way, spur creativity and make things
Mm-hmm.
better. But we have
I
to use it
think
in the
part
right
of it,
way.
we have to use it creatively, though. That's the thing, right? Like, if you are putting in very basic prompts, you are going to get very basic writing. If you put
Yeah.
in creative prompts and you tell it what kind of voice you want it to use, and you can you could really, you create the scenario that it will
Yeah.
accommodate, right? Except
Right.
in the case of pictures where you're just like, okay, just show me what you got, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
and you can of course just be like, you could ask Chat GPT, give me 10 ideas for, and it's going to give you a list of ideas. So yes, you can be very creative in how you approach it. I have barely scratched the surface myself. I've used it for very few things, but super excited about digging in a little bit more for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
It's so fun.
the first picture I saw you post, I look, of course we're always drawn to faces, right? We're humans. You see a picture, you're not looking at a shoulder, you're looking at the face. And I was like, that's a beautiful picture of Kathy. Now I read the first part of what you had posted, that it was an AI generated picture. So I knew it wasn't like a photograph. And then I looked down because I finished reading what you wrote and I was like, oh, she does have three hands. That's not normal. But it is a good picture of you. If you want me to take, I could Photoshop out that third hand for you.
Now you just crop it. But it to me, that was one of the ones where it was like, okay, now I look a little bit like Christina Aguilera or something like that, or
But
Christina Applegate.
the
Yeah.
alien
But
version.
yeah, with the third hand. That was just so, and then if you look really close on that particular picture, my mouth is like half open, half closed. Like, is it open or closed? Because there's like a lip and teeth at the same place. It's really weird. And so there's like all these like little bizarre things about it. Some of the pictures that came back were really great. And it's funny because I show them to my husband and I'm like, who is this person? And he's like, Vicky. Like, your sister? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, do any of them look like me? No, they look like Vicky.
That's
God,
hysterical.
what is going on in his brain? I wish I could AI his brain, because
Oh,
then like
for
it's just
sure.
a little augmentation to like fill in some of those weird gaps where things
Yeah.
just are not making the
Yeah.
inferential leaps.
Some AI synapses, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear
But
you. Oh my
maybe
gosh.
someday. The promise
You
of
never
AI.
know. You never
Yeah.
know. For sure. Oh my goodness, that's hysterical. And of course, my learning experience last week was around. Okay, so one of the one of the things that Hazel Kimpo and I, we have a podcast called Audacity Marketing,
Yeah.
and she said, let's talk about WP speakers and the audacity of how you did that, right? So I like to call foolishness audacity because it makes it sound like I made it like a bold decision, as opposed to, hey, let's just see what happens, right?
Yeah.
But on Monday of last week, I started working on a website. Literally Monday was like, okay. And of course I use Cadence because I can build a site so freaking fast with Cadence, right?
Yeah.
Does it look like a Cadence site? A little bit, right? Because I modify and make things my own. I swap out pictures, all of that stuff that you do, right? So it doesn't look like a cookie cutter site. And that's what I love about Cadence, is they don't have to look like cookie cutter sites, because
Right.
you can do whatever you want with it. Anyway, this is not a plug for Cadence, but it's just an appreciation for the tools that I have. Kind of a plug for Cadence, but what I mean is they're not sponsoring us. But so I started building the site on Monday. One of my best friends, Mark Westgard with WS Form. I have a license to use it wherever I want, whenever I want, which I love. So I have WS Form on there to start to capture all the data.
Yeah.
And then like, how am I going to display it? So he had messaged Katie Keith at Barn2 Plugins, and she gave me a license for her product, which I can never remember the name of it, Pro Table Display, I think. And I didn't know how to get like from the form to actually displaying things. And, bless Mark, he got on a call with me and like, boom, 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 boom. I spent 4 hours trying to figure it out. He says 30 minutes and it's done. Bless him. I love that. And on Wednesday, I'm in the lounge at the Adorim Summit, and I'm like, hey guys, I did a thing. I would love to just kind of show you and see what you think. So I put it in the chat, WPSpeakers.com, and I liked it. It definitely, I needed a little bit of tweaking and improvement here and there. Like after that point, I added languages that you can present in because that's important. And I was like, it's a soft launch. I'll show 10 people, see what they think. So not only did those 10 people like put themselves in the database, then they started sharing it online and it went a little bit viral. And basically in less than a week, I had 210 people in the database. And so it's been a wonderful week. It's been a whirlwind week. It's also been a little bit scary because like, oh man, now this thing's taken off. Now I've got to really make it really good. But what's been really interesting is the number of people that really wanted to succeed. So over like within a week, I had 5 sponsors. And I'm not talking about the in-kind sponsors, like absolutely credit to the people who have given me software, provided hosting, things like that. But five companies over like within the last week have sponsored it, which allows me to continue to do a lot of the work that I do for free in the community, which I love. And then I have a million other people. Okay, million is an exaggeration. At least 7 or 8 people have reached out to me saying either kindly or unkindly, it needs to do this too, right? So a lot of people are very blunt in how they approach you. And it's hard not to get the dander up on my, the hairs in the back of my neck rise up like, what do you mean it has to do that? This is my project, not yours, right? Very, very many more people kindly offer, ooh, have you thought about this? Or I'd be happy to help you make it do that. And one person said, you should open source it on GitHub. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put my website on GitHub. But also I appreciate though, 100% appreciate every single one of those responses. I will not be doing them all because it needs to keep some of its simplicity, right? The more complex it gets, the more difficult it will be for people to use, the more difficult it will be to maintain. And it needs to be a resource that is useful, but not overwhelming to me or others, right? So, so some of those ideas are phenomenal and will be used. Some of those ideas are phenomenal, but will not be implemented. And special thanks to the people who say, I'm willing to help you make it do that if it's something that you want to do, as opposed to just like, you need to do this and dropping the hammer like that, right? So it has been...
That's a sign. That's a sign that you've hit success. That, when everybody wants, that they feel an investment towards making it the way they want it to be, that's just a side effect of being successful. I see that with Cadence. The number of people who like to give advice or feature requests or why can't it, or everybody's got something to say. And sometimes it's great and you're like, okay, great, this is great constructive criticism. I always want to hear that because I'm always like wanting everything to be better. But Cadence hits a stride of success and everybody wants to tell us how to do things.
Yes.
And luckily Ben has great boundaries and very much has a vision for where he's going. And you have to cultivate that too with where you're, because it hit a nerve, it hit a resonance with your audience, and you've hit success. So now it's like really being discerning about where you want it to go, right?
Yeah.
What's the vision for what this looks like for you in 5 years?
Exactly.
5 months.
And my biggest thing is I how do I say this? I tell other people to value their time monetarily, right?
Yeah.
So the funniest thing to me over the last week is I reached out to you and I said, how much should I charge for sponsorship for this? And you said, whatever it is, double it. That's what you tell me to do. I was like, oh shit, I need to take my own advice on this one.
Because I was just like, this thing is brand new. I have absolutely no idea. So
what's interestingly, I asked like 4 different people because you want to get consensus, right? Like you want to find out what do people value this at. And where I ended up at is $2,500 a year, but I offered 5 initial sponsorships at $500 a piece for the first year because this is a way, number one, to get a little bit of money to cover all the time and energy and everything that goes into it, promoting it, talking about it, etc. And also help me continue to do the other things I do in the world, like the WP career pages that I run and the tweets that I do every week, those kind of things. I got everybody saying anything from 2,500, but one person said, well, it's not a proven concept yet, so $99 a year. I'm like, oh, hell no. Because then I would get 50 companies at $99 a year, which yes, would have been more money than I have now, but the responsibility to your sponsors is another thing that people don't understand, right? So what you say you do for sponsorship, you have to do for sponsorship. And if I had to be tweeting out about 99 different companies for $99 a piece, that's way more time and energy than that $99 would have been worth for the year.
Right.
So but I thank everybody for their inputs and, somehow land in between everybody's and come up with what I think is the sweet spot. And kind of go from there. So
yeah. You have to make it worth your while, and you have to make it worth the companies or the sponsors' while too. Like it has to be something of value. It's not like just, I don't know, like a plugin.
Yeah,
exactly. Not to diminish plugins. You guys are awesome. I love all of the plugins, and I love paid plugins and where I can support a developer, but this requires attention, so if you do something that doesn't require attention, is very scaled, you can charge less, but this requires like focused attention and focused one-on-one consultation types of things, and it has to get a higher dollar. That's just like how this works.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a week of learning for us both, and it's been a whirlwind week. This week is also WordCamp Buffalo this weekend, so no rest for the weary. I will be all over the place in Buffalo this weekend for that. But I do get to see a lot of our Stellar and Nexus people, because I'll see Timothy Jacobs from iThemes will be there, speaking on security. I will be there. I'm trying to think. Gosh, I don't want to forget anybody. Jeff Betancourt from support or from customer success will be there. He was Give. Now he's actually they've reorged us all, but he's still at Stellar WP, of course. And then we got a bunch of Nexus people that are going to be there. Maribeth Smith's doing her first talk in WordPress.
Cool.
I know, excited for her there. And then, gosh, I am forgetting people.
Jeff Chandler's coming up. I know that.
Jeff Chandler's coming up. Christine Clowder's going to be there. And there's somebody else. And I'm sorry if you listen to the podcast and I can't remember who you are, but I will see you this weekend. I give you a great big hug. But it's going to be a busy but good weekend. And I'm already looking forward to Sunday when I can get home and take a nap.
Yeah, I bet. No matter how long a WordCamp is, it takes a lot of attention and
a lot of energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking about how my talk is called So You Want to Launch a Podcast. I'm going to be talking about that, which the first time I ever gave that was over at the Cadence Amplify event. So
yeah. And I still need to pull that out for you. I haven't downloaded. I just haven't. Oh my gosh. The podcast I did for Cadence last time, I did it. So I was doing a seminar last Thursday, but the only way I could get all the calendars and the stars to align, I had to like jump out of the conference to do this podcast, and something happened to my mic and I sound terrible. And so then I try to adjust it, and I adjust it to using this like studio sound, and I sound better. And then it took Shane Perlman's audio and made his crap. And I'm just like, I just do not have time for this. oh man, it took so long to edit. It's definitely a retrograde. But anyway, yeah, I've been like all about AI lately because do with the
Yeah.
woo, we recorded that this week and that was all about AI. So every podcast is like, every conversation is all AI this, AI that. Cadence is gonna, you will be astounded with some of the stuff Cadence. I know you're a big Cadence fan and you build
I
out with
am.
Cadence. The next site that you build with Cadence, if it's using Cadence AI, you're just going to be floored. Like literally,
Yay. I
like
can't wait
remember
to see it.
the 5 minute install from WordPress. This is going to
Yeah.
be like the 5 minute website. It's gonna be
Wow.
crazy.
I
Yeah,
love it.
so
And that's the,
it's
you know,
coming.
and I will say, so a lot of what happens in WordPress is people like, oh, WordPress is better than Wix because it is better. And I agree it is, right? But one of the things that Gen Z or millennials, or I don't know, I'm a Gen X, whatever, but they want quick and easy, right? They want it to
Yeah,
look
yeah,
good. They want it quick. And I think tools like what you're describing, what we're discussing, is what's going to help move WordPress into those next generations
yeah,
for easier adoption. And I'm super excited to hear about it. And look, I mean, I built a site in in 3 days. I launched a site that's got this kind of popularity already, and that was with the current tool. So I can't even imagine
yeah.
how much it's gonna revolutionize what we do in WordPress. So super
It
excited to
is.
see it.
It's gonna be so cool.
You'll have to let my next website, whatever it is, you'll have to get me on that Cadence podcast because I think it's one of the few I haven't been on. Just saying.
Look at John.
I'm just
Look at
kidding.
John. We've just
Whatever,
been
whatever works.
with Cadence Blocks 3, like that release, and then
Yeah,
now we're doing the Pro, which is like it's not just like, oh, we're adding new features. This was a foundational like rewrite of
yeah.
everything. So it was like just a ton. And so
I
yeah, the
can't even
podcast is
imagine.
like last on the list of anything that gets done. So try to do like, oh, okay, well, let's do
Yeah,
something. Let's talk to somebody else and leave Ben alone for a week.
yeah,
Been doing some
sure.
of that. So
And of
it's
course, I'm just
been,
teasing, but I'm there to, if there's anything I can do to help, I'm all about it.
yeah,
So for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I love
All
working
right.
with you.
Likewise, which is why we were like, I don't know if y'all remember, but one day I said to Kathy, and it was a Friday, hey, I want to do a project with you. I don't know what it looks like. And she's like, I know, I want to work with you too. And I'm like, want to start a podcast? She's like, sure. What do we do? I'm like, let's just try to motivate people. Okay, let's record the first episode today and
Yeah,
build the website over the weekend to publish it on Monday. Okay. And we did.
love it.
So, yeah, those audacious, like spur of the moment decisions can sometimes be freaking amazing. And so that's what it is. we
It
should rename
is.
we should rename this WP Michelle and Kathy hype each other up.com.
Pretty much, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Too fun. All right. Well, I will see you all on the flip side of WordCamp Buffalo. And we don't know what we're going to talk about next week. Maybe we'll talk about WordPress being 20 years old and a little bit of our own journeys. That could be kind of fun. But who
Yeah.
knows? A lot can happen between now and then.
Yeah.
But, all right. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
This has been WP Motivate with Kathy Zant and Michelle Frechette. To learn more or to sponsor us, go to WPMotivate.com.